Thank you very much for this beautiful applause. That's the best gift a judge can get. Professor Dr. S.B. Majumdar, Chancellor of Symbiosis International University, Dr. Vidya Yerodekar, Prost Chancellor, Dr. Ramkrishnan Raman, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajiv Yerodekar, Provost, Faculty of Medical Health Sciences, my own guru and teacher, Professor Upender Bakshi, members of the Board of Management, deans, faculty, and most importantly, members of the graduating batch of 2023 and your families. My heartiest congratulations to the graduates of the batch of 2023 and to your families and to everyone present here who has played an important role in helping you to achieve this milestone. You have worked hard over the years and you have made your family and loved ones proud. Today is your day, so I ask you to give yourself a huge round of applause in which I join. As the Chief Justice of India and a judge for the last 23 years, I witnessed throngs of lawyers and litigants every morning. My capacity for huge crowds and eager lawyers has progressively increased, particularly after I took oath as Chief Justice of India. However, my training had not prepared me enough for the infectious and refreshing energy of graduating students at the convocation ceremony of good old Symbi. As many of you gather here after a brief hiatus away from Pune, I'm sure that you must have a bittersweet feeling of reminiscing the friendships you kindled in the salmon red and white walls of Symbiosis and the all too familiar university motto of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. University life is a time of great learning, character building, and value education for every person. You must take great pride in the growth you have shown between the time you first came here as an anxious teenager, waiting to explore the ways of life, friendships, and love. And today, when you leave the building as young adults with a thirst to change the world in small and big ways. When you look back at your years in college, you should recall not only the knowledge you have gained in lectures, but also the learnings on navigating through life, to be independent, to be responsible, and absorb from a community of diverse cultures that university life exposes you to. But a greater teacher of these values is the life one leads and makes for the people around them. I know that as fresh graduates, you must be overwhelmed with many emotions, both positive and anxiety-inducing. The world today presents myriad opportunities to enter careers and lead personal life in ways that we couldn't quite imagine when I was in your place. I know how the enormity of challenges and the limitless choices creates uncertainty and could take a toll on you. The fear of being paralyzed by the prospect of making the wrong choice is natural. But as the great poet Sylvia Plath said, from the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black. This poem has been used by many to highlight the dreadful thought of making the wrong life choice. I want you to know that it is all right to be overwhelmed by emotions of fear and uncertainty. Take your time to find what path you want to choose for yourself. You may be thinking of your career, the location you want to spend your life at, the mentorship you will get going forward, and much more. These are big decisions, and big decisions are not designed to be the easiest. In this age, as we advance toward the technology-driven, interdisciplinary model of education and creation of ever unique professions, you may even choose to do something entirely out of the scope of your educational degree. Making these choices is never a deviance. It is rather a hallmark of innovative, imaginative, and bold decision making. Therefore, step out of the familiar, take new and uncharted paths to doing something which no one has done before. In the face of the uncertainties and challenges that life throws at you, it may be tempting to crave a predetermined idea of a good life and fall for misguided ideas of success. This idea focuses on you chasing after money, seeking out a powerful post, a big or fancy car, and tools to show off your material possessions to people around you. While I do not see anything wrong in wanting to lead a life of affluence and material gain, if you think that would give you happiness and content, you must remember that the process through which you achieve those goals must be value-ridden. In this ends-oriented vision of securing money and material possessions, you must not compromise on your principles and values. You must not justify things that you may have found unimaginable at some point of time in your life, because you won't feel innate happiness with a compromised moral compass. You will seek happiness in material possessions. It's a vicious cycle, a self-fulfilling myth of buying happiness with money. So ask yourselves serious questions. Years ago, I was in an interview for the Rhodes Scholarship with Mr. Narayan Murthy as chair of the panel. And he asked one student who was going to study nanotechnology, how nano is nanotechnology? But I thought that you must ask yourselves these questions. How intelligent is artificial intelligence? How lawful are the outcomes of law? How healing is our practice of medicine? Has engineering equipped us to be social engineers? Do our degrees in management or economics enable us to enhance the management of the human happiness index? In my opinion, success is measured not only by the pursuit of popularity or personal advancement at any cost. It is measured by a commitment to a higher purpose. It could be serving the nation, helping your customers, creating a healthy and collaborative work environment, mentoring your juniors as your faculty does, or removing discriminatory barriers to access and creating a more inclusive community. The only recipe to succeed in life is to work hard, do what you feel is right, abide by your conscience, and be kind to people around you. But above all, be kind to yourself. Don't be harsh on your own existence. This is easier said than done, but I assure you that the only right choices you will ever make in your life are the choices that you make for yourself. It is conventional for speakers at a convocation ceremony to dole out advice to the graduating batch. However, no amount of advice can truly replace the journey that you must undergo before making the right choice for yourself. To draw further on the poem by Sylvia Plath that I reflected on a few moments ago, on the very next page she continues when she writes, "I don't know what I ate, but I felt immensely better. It occurred to me that my vision of the fig tree might well have arisen from the profound void of an empty stomach." Which means that while the uncertainty of making the wrong choice can be paralyzing, you will find fulfillment in any future you branch out in. This journey of you making the right decision for yourself may not necessarily be straightforward. You will have good days and setbacks too. What is life without the setbacks? But you learn from those setbacks. You learn from your errors and mistakes. You learn every day with the good and the bad experiences of life. If you don't believe me, just take the example of President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. As a scientist, he was the project director of SLV-3, whose mission was to put a satellite into orbit. A team of over 1,000 people had worked for over 10 years to prepare the launch in 1979, when I was a young student. 40 seconds before the launch of the satellite, the system started giving a warning sign to abort the mission. There was a leak in the control system, it displayed. Quick as he was, Dr. Al-Kalam, along with other experts, calculated that there was enough fuel to proceed with the launch. They decided to bypass the warning and launch the satellite. The rocket was launched and spiraled, falling into the Bay of Bengal. The 1979 SLV-3 launch was a failure, but it paved the way for our brilliant scientific community to come out with flying colors with a successful launch in 1980. There could be no 1980 success without the insight of the 1979 failure. This is why you must not be afraid of failure, but rather embrace it. Out of university now, you will experience many firsts in your next stages of life. Your first salary, the first work trip, first house, and probably your first altercation at work. These firsts may appear to you as a challenge, but they are equally a new start and a fresh opportunity to create new chapters of life with renewed energy. I remember my first trip out of my home when I became a lawyer, when my client took me to a 5-star hotel to stay. I went back to the first STD booth in those days, because you had no cell phones, called up home and said that I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. Life after graduation is different for everyone. But what is unique is the ability to create and imagine better solutions to the difficulties around us. Our surroundings may not always be to our liking. Maybe you have some inputs to give to your employers about the work culture, the office timings, the salary, or even the attitude of people in professional settings. But these issues allow you to find solutions and reassess your position. When you go back to the drawing board, you go with more understanding than ever before. The rough and tumbles of life must never deter you from following your heart and being true to yourself. A person who has not failed has never tried. but never stop believing that doing what feels right to you is worth it. As Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. For success is loving life and daring to live it. If you fail, you will have many opportunities to succeed in better ways. And if you succeed, you will be forever grateful for your choices. Though college life is popularized as the best days of a person's life, I may offer you just one insight into your future, which is that your best days are still ahead of you. People from my generation have hindsight in our armor and like to advise younger generations to tone down their optimism and expectations. I want you to ignore that advice because optimism and hope of making a better world for yourself and for others is what makes today's younger generation unique. We were taught not to ask questions when we were young. Your intuition is to question, and don't ever lose that sense of intuition. You are the first generation to be raised in the age of technology, where the world's prospect is at your fingertips or on your mouse. While the resources of the world have become increasingly accessible by democratizing influence of the internet, the problems of the world are also more widely being articulated and presented to you. It is awe-inspiring that the younger generation is a kind, empathetic, and critical thinking population who is educating and speaking out about the issues that matter most to them. The other day, my young law clerk showed me an Instagram reel of a 7-year-old girl who complains about the dismal state of the road from her house to the school. She walks the route while shooting the video and explains how various potholes have led to accidents and injuries. She explains how the roads lead to pupils feeling tired from the commute and hinders their ability to study and enjoy their time after school. At the end of it all, she requests the local government body to take action on improving the roads. This leadership is enormously hopeful and inspiring. It is also uniquely characteristic of your generation. Not only are you capable of identifying the issues that affect you, but are also willing to use the means at your disposal to voice out your concerns. As I saw the little girl's sense of justice in enhancing access to education, my mind went back to the first ever school established for girls in 1848 in this very city of Pune. That girl, and indeed every right-thinking educated person, owes so much to the great social reformers like Jyotirao Phule, Savitribai Phule, and Fatima Sheikh, who persevered in their mission with hope and determination to educate people of all castes and religion, despite violent patriarchal and casteist opposition. When Savitribai Phule used to go to the school to teach girls, she would have to carry an extra sari with her because the villagers would throw their garbage and dump at her for the simple want of educating young minds. The journey from 1848 to 2023 has been filling with enormous efforts, progress, and the selfless actions of good-hearted and fair-minded people. Prominent among them are Dr. S.B. Mazmudar and, of course, my own guru, Dr. Upendra Bakshi. Difficult decisions taken in troubling times have led to great gains, which we can all credit for our collective social and educational progress. Like the little girl in my story, I'm sure that you will also use the tools that your education has equipped you with, to the best of its ability, in contributing to the world around you. Life will try to induce cynicism and skepticism, sometimes even at the risk of making you feel incapable and helpless. This is one of the ways in which status quo tries to preserve itself despite all its fault lines, but never given to the cynicism and never stop believing that you are smart enough, worthy enough, and that your hard work deserves to be appreciated. Let no one tell you that you do not have a seat at the table or the power to effect necessary changes, but in doing so, abide by the virtue of kindness, of humility, of openness, and of compassion. This advice has been derided as too obvious and inarticulate. However, you would be surprised to know how much you can learn if you only listen carefully to what others are saying around you and have the humility to accept when they are right. A judge learns the most from the woes of litigants around. A doctor learns the most practicing bedside manners. A good parent learns the most hearing the grievances of children. A teacher learns the most from the questions of students. And you will learn the most from the questions which people will pose to you as you grow up in life. This advice has kept me in good stead as a lifelong student of the law, a family man, a lawyer, and as a judge. As judges, we often sometimes look at a file and understand the crux of the issues involved. But I distinctly remember a death penalty case that came before the Supreme Court earlier this year, a death penalty case. As is usual in such cases, we assumed that the prayer was to commute the death penalty to life imprisonment because the crime was heinous. But the lawyer told the court that if only you give me the chance to explain, as you must, I will not only show you that this case is unfit for the death penalty, but in fact a case for acquittal of the accused altogether. And he was right. Not only was their death sentence commuted, but the Supreme Court acquitted the accused. In my own hearings, I carefully analyze every file before a hearing and form a prima facie view. Even if I think that the matter is not worthy of proceeding, I do not shut my mind to the persuasion of the lawyers in the court. No case is too small for a lawyer or a judge. No case is too routine for a doctor. And no bridge is too small to be built for an engineer. The power of listening to others is important in every sphere of life. It is enormously liberating to yield that space to others. The problem with our society is we are not listening to others. We are listening only to ourselves. By having the audacity to listen, you concede that you may not have all the right answers, but are willing to explore and find them. It also allows us to break our own echo chambers and reach newer understandings of the world around us. Life has a peculiar way of teaching us. Let humility, courage, and integrity be your companions in this journey. As James Joyce said in Ulysses, to learn, one must be humble, but life is a great teacher. Humility, achieved through failures and experiences, teaches us to preserve and to grow. Our individual and collective growth can in large part be attributed to people who can stay humble and continue to give the best in whatever role they perform. Last evening, I met some of the most distinguished scientists who have been contributories to the building of our nation. But one thing which struck me was the intense sense of humility and of being rooted to our society. Contrary to the common misconception, strength is not shown by anger, by violence, and by being disrespectful to people in our personal space and professional lives. The real intelligence and strength of people is in their ability to face the many adversities of life and retain their ability to humanize people around them with humility and grace. Lastly, I would advise you to keep track of what really matters in life. As you enter the professional world, you would be expected to show your ethic and commitment to work. However, please also take time for your family, for your families, for your friends, and most importantly, for yourself. Never despise those who came into your life and left you for good reasons or bad. There is something which you learn from every relationship. Every relationship does not necessarily flower into the direction that you wanted. But look back at those happy relationships, at those failed relationships, as something which taught you and made you a better person. You will have a lifetime of work, but it must never be at the cost of your own well-being and the cost of your personal life, the time and space that your own personal life deserves. Most of us spend the majority of our days feeling tired, overwhelmed, and disappointed in ourselves, certain that we have come up short. No matter how much we have accomplished or how hard we have worked, we never believe we've done enough to feel satisfied. The constant hustle that our surroundings promote us to perform may seem useful and productive in the short run, but has drastic negative consequences in the long run. If you don't make time for your body to rest, your body will pick one for you and it won't be as per your schedule. So please take time out of your work to check up on your friends, spend time with your family, enjoy the momentous occasions of each other's lives, and most importantly, take out time for yourself to recover, replenish, and relax. With this, I wish you all the success in your future. May you for forever make the choices that you can be proud of. Good luck. Godspeed to each of you as you begin your careers. Namaste. Thank you.